Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Just Believe podcast. I'm your host, HB Mack, and today I'm honored to have this lovely young lady. I've been following her page probably in the last month or so. I love her content. It just resonates with me. She makes it fun, easy to digest, and I'm like, that's what I'm all about. And this is Miss Pam. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today,
I'm good. I'm
HB?
good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good. When I reached out to you, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie because I was like, man, the content that she puts out and her worth ethic, I don't know if she can pencil me in. And when you did, I was like, yes, 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 because I felt like I don't know. I feel like we can connect in a way where I feel like we are already connected as far as like energy wise, but so much to learn off each other. So for the people that don't know who you are, please tell them.
Of course. Yeah, thank you. Of course. And why would I say no to your invitation, HB? I immediately said yes to your invitation. Of
Yeah.
course, I would take that.
Well, the scheduling, that's why people schedules. I know we're supposed to still be like, social distancing and stuff and quarantining here and there, but everybody's busy.
Right, right. So, yeah, thank you for having me here today, HB. So, my
Anytime.
name is Pamela Baizas. I wear many hats, but for the purposes of this discussion, I am a healing practitioner. I do have an energy healing practice as well as a coaching practice. So I am in the health and wellness coaching industry. And so this is where I find myself right now. And it's something that I have been passionate about, for a couple of years now. And I do have a full-time work, which is I work for the federal government, but that's a different side of the story that I
Yeah.
can share later on. So, yeah.
Yeah. What got you into the health and wellness? To be honest, because some people like that's always been them, and some people just stumbled upon it. Like, I don't know, it just fell into my hands. So what was it with you?
It's okay. I'll take you in a little bit of a history here.
Sure.
It's a long story, but hey, we've got time to
Yes, we got time.
storytelling. So, first of all, I was born and raised in the Philippines. So, I spent half of my life there, and I pretty much grew up in poverty. I was I'm the third of four children. And so when I turned 18, I moved to the US as an immigrant with my mom and my two brothers. And when we were moving to America, I thought, wow, I'm moving to the land of honey and opportunities. But pretty soon I realized, well, it really isn't exactly as what I had thought. And so I
It's
had
not
to
like the
work.
movies. Yeah, it's not like the movies. Yeah.
Not exactly. So I had to work at a young age, and I had to support myself. I had actually worked multiple simultaneous jobs so I can, support myself and send myself to school. So just like you, as I was hearing your story earlier, I was working during the day and I was going, to school at night. And, eventually through my hard work and persistence and sacrifices, of course, I was able to earn my degree. So my background is in accounting. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. And I also have a master in public administration because I have a long history of my public service career. As I've mentioned, I have been working for the federal government for 15 years now and counting.
Nice, nice.
So, even though, I am very proud of my public service career, you know, a couple of years ago, I felt like something was missing. It was something where I felt I needed to find my purpose. There was something out there that was calling me, and I didn't know what it was, you know. So that was 2018. It was a couple years
Oh,
ago.
so this is just like recent.
It was recent.
Yeah.
So I was feeling full up with an exciting career. I was leading an office. I have my own team. I was traveling. I was speaking. I was meeting very interesting people, but I was feeling a sort of emptiness, and I didn't know why. Um, so one day, after work, and I was traveling, I think I was on duty to Washington, D.C. at the time. So I spontaneously visited the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., and I went to pieces.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yes, and I could
Yeah.
say it's a form of surrender. I called out from the bottom of my heart and I cried out for help. If there was anything that's out there listening to me, please help me. And I meant it. and within a short amount of time, I received the answers that I sought, but not in the form I anticipated. And ever since then, there were synchronistic events that were happening and that were occurring in my life leading up to this new calling. It was more of a journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
It's it's something where I think most people call it or label it as the dark night of the soul, or if you've experienced some kind of a rebirth of some sort, or awakening to your true purpose. That's what I was experiencing at that time. Because like I said, I thought I've got everything a person could wish for. I mean, with my loving husband, with my 2 kids, my family, my job, it was, despite the well-paying job, I still felt like
Something's missing.
same.
Yeah.
Yes. So with that, I became very interested in Eastern medicine. Don't get me wrong, Western medicine is pretty cool, but then there's this pool of Eastern medicine that's been pulling me, as I was searching for answers. So I became fascinated with alternative medicine and other
Yes.
centuries old healing
Yes.
modalities. So I learned that many, traditional healing modalities are rooted in the belief of balance and harmony of life force energy. They call it many ways. In China, they call it qi. In India, they call it prana. And then in modern times, they call it the biofield. And it's basically the same,
Yeah, it's all the same.
It's a healing.
Yes, it's a healing thing. Now, I'm glad you said that, because I do a lot of Eastern medicine, a lot, from cupping, from acupuncture. I'm actually going to schedule one hopefully next week. I gotta contact her and make sure she's available. I do a lot of it because, like, even though I love the Western medicine, at the same time, it has to be another answer. Like, just pills alone can't help you. It has to be something else, right? And I always feel like the body tells you, hey, there's something wrong, try something out. And I stumbled upon cupping, right? I was just like, man, I want to do cupping. And so I was like, okay, how I'm wired is I'm going to do 110 or I'm not, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to go do cupping. And I kept digging down the rabbit hole of YouTube. And I was like, wet cupping, what is that? Wet cupping, what is that? So I started doing some more digging, and I was like, oh, wet cupping seems way better than dry cupping. So where I'm at in Tampa, it's probably like 4 people that do it, right? Maybe 4. So yeah, it's not that many, because most of them are like, we heard of it, we're not with it. And I found one that did it, and she is phenomenal. She does that and acupuncture, and I try to do it every 4 months. Obviously, with this COVID year, I'm like, so now she's just opened back up. But yes, I love the fact that you talked about it.
Yes, absolutely. And, I became so obsessed with it ever since I started, digging into it. And then one thing led to another, more discoveries led to another. I was very, very much, drawn to it. It felt as if I have lived some of these, principles in my previous lives. It became so natural to me. And so, I've always been interested in health, wellness, fitness, all those things, but energy healing was something new for me. And so that is how I started before, going into this health and wellness coaching that I currently find myself in right now. So, as I watch a lot of documentaries, read a lot of books related to that topic, I stumbled across the energy healing. And I discovered, Reconnective healing, which is a form of energy medicine. It's a comprehensive energy medicine, that is basically communicating, and it brings frequencies of light, energy, and information. So that is how I started, in this journey that I have right now, because at first I thought, why am I feeling empty? What is it that I needed to fill in my life? I thought I had everything already at my disposal, but I didn't know that there is something that I needed to heal more deeply inside. And I didn't know what it was, because everybody has a different way of explaining what healing is. I mean, what is healing exactly? I mean, it's hard to describe it or even talk about it unless you had a personal experience of it. But once you experience it, it feels deeply nurturing. It's very peaceful. It feels like coming home.
Yeah. You're at
That's how it
peace.
felt.
Yes, 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 you're at peace. Oh man, I'm glad. I'm glad we did this. Because you probably didn't even know that I was so into Eastern medicine. It was just something that I was like, wow, like I don't know. I figured having an open mind, you never know what, the possibilities. When you have a closed mind, you might miss the best thing for you. So I had like a shoulder injury, right? And I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, hey, you just have to take these pills and you'll be fine. And I was like, okay, well, will I be fine like forever, or will I just be fine for the next 6 months? And he's like, oh, with the shoulder, it's hit or miss. It's like, that is not an answer. So like my shoulder was like really hurting, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to take any more pills, because the pills and the shot that they was giving me, I was like, man, you're tearing my muscle. I'm young. I don't want to be in my 50s and like that's it. So I looked into that, and once I did, especially the wet cupping, I felt like a brand new man. And then she was like, oh, try acupuncture, like it gets the energy flowing, your chi and everything would be amazing. And I was like, all right, fine, let's try it. And that experience, I was just like, that's it, I'm doing this for life. I'm going to try to do it at least twice a year, to give your body a oil change, as I call it. Like we give our cars we maintain that. That's our body. Our body's our temple. Yeah, you can eat healthy, but at the same time, you have to flush it out. You have to detox and all that. We have all these herbs in the world. Why not use them?
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is also when I started, meditating, which was phenomenal for my mental health. There were a lot of things that I have been avoiding my life. When I discovered energy healing, as I mentioned, I want to go back to that HB a little bit, because I thought I didn't have any trauma or any issues in my past that I needed to address. I just went on with my life, and I didn't really pay attention with any wounding that has happened in the past, because I shoved everything under the rug. I thought I was okay. I needed to smile and be brave.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect in my life. But it was also around the time when, a couple years ago in 2018, which was the catalyst for this journey of mine, is when I came to terms about my painful past. It was like being brought to the surface. And I had severed ties with my father 7 years before that, and I have not spoken to him ever since. There's pending litigation cases, but it's all a long, ugly story. But anyway.
Don't worry. We don't have to get into it. It's perfectly fine. Yeah.
But it actually came to the surface, where I've been trying to avoid, and I thought I was doing well mentally and emotionally, but I was not. And so, it was perfect timing for it to be brought back, because that's when I started to really deal with my emotions, learning how to forgive, taking care of my mental health, because these things never die. These
Never.
things remain in your system if you don't address them. All these suppressed emotions and all of these pain that you keep holding on to, the bitterness, the anger, the unforgiveness, all those accumulate in your system. And guess what? They stay in your body for as long as you hold on to them. And then if you don't let go or release them, these imbalances in your system created by those negative toxic emotions are going to show up in your life as, disease or any kind of illnesses. So anyway, one of the teachings of Eastern medicine is integrating that as a whole. And so that is why I became passionate about the topic, and I learned more about energy healing. And so I started, my energy healing practice shortly after discovering it. When I mentioned earlier, when I cried out for help at that church and everything began to align and synchronistic events started happening, that is when one thing showed up to me after another. And one of the things that I still continue to do at this point is facilitate energy healing for my clients, because that is one way, and I'm not saying it's the only way. There are numerous healing modalities, but energy healing is one of the ways in which you can remove those interferences or blocks in your system by allowing the body to return to a state of balance and wholeness. So So I just wanted to mention that part.
You're fine. You're fine. What
Yeah.
was because you talked about the energy healing. What was the first? What, not the first, but what method did you use to help release that anger? That okay, if I don't release this, I'm never gonna be that next. I'm never gonna hit that next level. So, what was the first way that you was like, okay, let me try this out and let me see if it works? What was the first steps, I should say?
Yes. And I will get to your point, but to answer it broadly and
Yeah.
at a high level, it's a process. Okay.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It takes. It might take months. It might take years. It's a
Yes.
process. Yeah.
And to me, it took years, a couple of years. So one of the things is to come into terms about what I was feeling. So it started on an emotional level for me. And so having to deal with that, having to sit with the feeling, because I was very angry, and I said to myself at one point in the past, I don't think I can ever forgive this person. But then, of course, that has changed ever since. One of the things, though, is meditation that has helped me, because that is when I found peace and calm. And just being in that stillness actually allowed me to feel or be in a state of love and a lot of the forgiveness that I didn't know I had the capability of doing. So with sitting with hard and difficult emotions, meditating, I did breath work. I did many different things, and then of course someone facilitated the energy healing for me. There were a lot of, I would say, external release. But then, of course, it doesn't happen one time, at least in my experience. And every person is different. Some people may have everything built up over many years, release it in one sitting or one session. But for me, it was a matter of multiple sessions, and it's a matter of all of the different practices that I have incorporated into getting to where I am, much better place than I am right now.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well said. No, it took me years to
yeah,
learn.
me
Oh
too.
yeah, it took me years. Like I I was meditating on and off. But like to actually like sit down and meditate, right? In the beginning, I thought like when you meditate, you're gonna get something special is gonna happen. And it's like, no, it's not. It's you slowing down the world and actually taking a chance to process whatever pain that you're going through or whatever emotion that you're experiencing during that time. And I did that. And then I also just cried, right? Like
Yes,
grown man crying, boohoo
yes,
crying. And I was okay with that because it was so much, as I call it, it was so many layers of pain that I had. And I had to be okay with that. And not just being okay from the pain, but accepting my past and understanding that I can't change the past, but I can change my future. And that was the thing that I had to learn how to, okay, I
yeah,
forgive everyone for all the pain that they caused me.
yeah.
I
And
needed that pain to be who I am today. That's how I
right,
viewed it.
right. And I love what you said, HB, in terms of crying. I did a lot of very ugly cries.
Oh
And
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
didn't know I had, the ability to make the sounds that I was making as I was trying to heal that wounded inner child that most people call it, but it's basically from your trauma or whatever experience you've had in the past. You got to let the emotions flow through you and feel it without having to rationalize it, because
Yes.
that is the problem when people start to ask, why am I feeling sad? And that's when they're in here, in the mind. You just have to let emotions flow, feel it, release it, let it go.
Let it
But
go.
yeah, people start having problems when they rationalize their emotions, which is a totally different area.
No,
It's not
it is. It is. No, it is. It is. It was something because I did a lot of reading, right? But I
right.
was also in like, the Japanese animations was something that I was always into, right? The kung fu movies I was always into, and they kept always talking about like the chi, the chi, the chi. And then I remember having like a one of my friends, he's like Filipino, right?
Yeah.
And we was in middle school, and I remember having a conversation, and this is like we're talking about like Dragon Ball Z and all this stuff, right? And his father comes in, and his father has a conversation, and he said, "Well, even though it's a cartoon, There is energy. You have energy. He's like, you may not understand it now, but later on in life, you'll get it. And I would never in a million years, I would think like, man, during my darkest moments, here goes this conversation of what my buddy's father was telling me. I was like, wait, everything I'm feeling is the energy, right? So if this energy that's built up in me, of course I'm gonna act crazy, quote unquote. Like I'm gonna act different. I'm not gonna act the same because of that energy is so built up. I have to release it. And I was like, well, let me meditate. Okay, well, meditation helping. Let me cry it out, And then I, like you said, the ugly cry. Like, hey, look, don't come over to the house. I'm not FaceTiming. It's okay. But then doing methods as like exercising, and I'm not saying like hit the gym, but fun exercise. Like I jump rope, right? I jump rope not because I'm trying to be fit, but it helps me release that energy, right? That tension is just like, oh, okay, cool. This is another way to do it. Or just even walking. This conversation is wonderful, but I just had to say that. It is because people don't understand that we have so much energy inside of us, but it's just how you release it is the key.
Yes. And I'm glad that, you and I are speaking the same language here, because we are energetic beings. We're made of energy. Everything in life is vibration, said the famous Albert Einstein. But,
yes.
But we are energetic beings. And so all of these, accumulated pain, suffering, whatever emotions, toxicity in your system, if you're not releasing them, or if you're not cleansing yourself, and there's many ways to do that, some people like to do grounding, some people just like to go, be in touch with nature, or like you said, exercise, meditate, feeling the emotions. There's a number of different ways. You can go to a healing practitioner, help that process for you to be able to, get to your highest self, is what they call it.
Yes.
And it's called multiple different ways, but it's basically functioning at your very best. And so, that is part of my role here, is to try to educate people, as a holistic coach, where all of these has to be integrated, because the Western medicine, the pitfalls of that, I love Western medicine, don't get me wrong. However, there is, the focus on just treating the symptoms, or putting a band-aid,
curing the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're not going all the way to the very cause of the issue. As you mentioned earlier, here's the pill, just pop it in. It'll make you
You'll be okay. You're gonna be numbed out. You'll be numbed out for a few hours, but you'll be okay. You won't feel that pain. And it's like, I'm not gonna feel it because I'm numb, dude. Like, yes.
Yeah, but it's not how the body works. There is underlying issue or cause that's being ignored. And then of course the Eastern medicine's principle is that having to look at all parts of yourself, from the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect of yourselves, all those has to be working, in harmonic balance in order for a person to function at their best, or at his or her best.
Now I have a question.
Sure, go
right ahead. Talking about the healing. Do you use healing stones as well?
No.
Wow. So, I'm surprised.
For this reconnective healing, it's not based on technique or ritual. It is basically just using my own conscious awareness, because when I enter into a space where I facilitate healing for a client, it's a three-way communication exchange. What I mean by that is I don't need any external things like, a bowl of water, a crystal, or whatever the case. I don't need any of that. The only thing I need is myself, the client, and a higher power from which all of these comes from. And so I'm basically just the conduit, for this energy to be transferred over to the client, and that's it. The only thing that I don't tell my clients to never expect any outcome, or release any expectation, or having to force or control or dictate the outcome. I always tell them to let go of any idea of a defined outcome, because that's an adulteration of the healing process. And all we need to do is really just trust the intelligence of a higher power and receive the healing in its pure form. Because people always say, I'm coming to you because I have a problem, heal me with this issue.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah,
it
doesn't. Yeah.
you know, and healing may come in the form that they may not anticipate, but it's actually the healing occurs when that person realizes the true form of healing that they received, less any of all of this expectations that they've had in, you know, before they came in. So no, to answer your question, I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, no, you're fine. No, no, because I asked that because not everyone use it. So see, that's why I asked. Because
Yeah.
I interviewed a healer as well, and she used it, and she was like, "Oh, I had no idea that you have all these stones." And I was like, "Yeah, I use it." I was like, "Unfortunately, you know, once I went down this rabbit hole, and you can just feel other people's energy sometimes, right?"
Yes.
So I worked in a big establishment, so I was minimum dealing with over 20,000 people a day. So the energy of that would just, I'd be drained the time I go for work. So I looked into healing stones, not to like, to protect my energy. Because sometimes, you know, some people can come with that negative energy and it's like, nah, not today, man. I'm in a good mood. Spiritually, I'm in a good mood. My life is doing well. And they come and they, you know, they're, as they call them, energy vampires. So
Mm.
like that's the reason why I did that. And now that like I don't work in that place anymore, it helps out because like my energy level is at all-time high because you know most of the time I work at home. And when I do run out to the stores quick, hey, let me grab this and I'm out. So I'm not around people with energy because I would assume that can be draining for you.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you bring this up because, you know, I've had clients who are empaths, and those are individuals that are very sensitive to energies, and they sometimes absorb energies that aren't theirs. So what happens is that they come with all of this residual energy that they're taking on, not even realizing which one is mine and which one is not mine. And so recognizing how to actually have that boundary, spiritual boundaries, energetic boundaries is very important. And sometimes, you know, this crystals for people work. I just, you know, I don't use that because I don't believe that I don't, you know, I have to rely on some kind of an external power to protect me or to assist me with that, because that's giving away my power. I mean, every single individual is a powerful spiritual being on his or her own, and owning that power and not relying and giving your power away to some kind of stone actually defeats the purpose of taking in and stepping into your power. So I just wanted to mention that because that's exactly how empaths deal with the sensitivities and the energies that they take on, and especially for healers, because we come into contact
Yeah.
with so many people that bring with them a lot of emotional baggages, or, you know, whatever they come with. And there's nothing wrong with that's our role, is to help them, you know, learn the tools, you know, in order for them to be able to live more powerfully in their own you know, in their own selves. But like I said, recognizing what's yours and what's not yours
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, even now, I don't wear them as much as I used to. But when I realized, like when I stopped wearing them and I started realizing the energy that I possess, right? There's
Right.
some days where like, you know, just running late, I'll leave them at home on purpose. And then I realize, okay, how can I block their energy, right? And it took me probably a good 3 months to learn it. And then once I did, I was like, okay, all right, cool. We're good. We're good. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, I can just sense that person. We're not even 6 feet near each other. I can sense they're in a bad energy level. I'm just gonna walk away. Like learn. It took me a while, and I'm not a master at it, but I'm like, okay, okay. There's some days where I take on some other energies. I'm like, man, I'm drained. Let me go recharge. And it's like I have a Rastafarian friend, and he said, if you ever have too much energy or too much pain or anything that you're carrying, just go to the nearest beach, go in the
Yep.
water, and just splash the waves upon your shoulders, and
Mm.
you're going to naturally recharge. And I'm like, all right, tried it out, worked out. And I was like, wow, wow. Like, you know, but having an open mind to have that conversation with my friend who was a Rastafarian, it helped out because he said, like, you know, he's like, you don't have to say that you're Rastafarian. He's like, you have the lifestyle of it, the way I eat, right? I'm a pescatarian. And the way I meditate and I talk about energy and creating boundaries. He's like, you're already thinking like a Rastafarian. And he's like, that's all it is. It's just energy and learning about it, man. He's like, just becoming one with yourself and learning how to project the energy to the universe that need that, and learning how to, hey, nope, we're just gonna reflect. Nope. We're gonna push it right back to you. So I like conversations like this. I love, maybe somebody that's listening, like, I don't know where they're going with this, but trust me, if you try it out, you'll learn so much about yourself. This is how I learned so much about myself. I learned the great things about me and the, okay, I suck at this. Let me reach out to someone else, but it helped, because I learned, okay, let me not put my energy into something where I'm not that good at, but let me put my energy to what I'm great at, but I can, hey, can you help me out? Can you teach me some of the ways so I can get better instead of putting all this energy into something that's still going to suck, So yeah, no, this is a great conversation.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out 2 key points you pointed out there, HB. One is the power of nature. When you said earlier, you just go out to the beach, let it cleanse you. That's a very powerful tool for actually releasing some of those energies that isn't yours, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, the power of nature. A lot of people do grounding, or they go take salt baths, or they just go to the beach. It has salt water. But yeah, the healing properties of nature is unbeatable. Yeah. And then the other point that you mentioned is reaching out, having support system, getting help when you need them. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. It's actually a sign of strength instead of what people actually have, put out there that it's a sign of weakness, but it isn't. I would disagree with that, because knowing when to get help and seek help is a sign of strength. And so if you're not, good in this area, or you want to improve certain things in this area of your life, go for it.
Always reach out. I tell people that, like, reaching out is the reason why I'm still here today. Like, always reach out. And I always try to, but not always reach out, but know the right people who to reach out to. Yeah. Like sometimes you might reach out to someone and they may not know how to handle it at that point in their life, or they may not understand. But, when I had a conversation talking about healing stones and whatnot at my job, and one of my coworkers just looked at me like, dude, you're from the Bronx. Why are you talking about healing stones? Because he doesn't understand. And it's just like, no. One, I could either sit there and get offended or try to teach him, but I was like, everybody learn on their own time. And like that same coworker, probably like 4 months later, had hit me up. Hey, can you talk about these healing stones, man? Me and my wife is getting into it. And I'm just like, see, on their own time when they're ready to learn. So I was like, nah, I can't. I'm from the Bronx, remember? And he instantly started like laughing. But, some people don't understand the importance of these conversations. It helps. It really does. Unfortunately, we have to go. Please tell people how to find you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. So I have a healing practice, of course, in California, but I have I'm still working on my website, and I am very active on social media, on Instagram, where I post daily, almost daily, sharing a lot of tips on wellness and healing, and just overall health and wellness. So that's healing_and_life progress. There is a link there where you can actually message me. And there's also a 21-day program, mastermind program that I have created, which is on that link in my bio in my Instagram page as well.
Trust me, everything is in the description, guys. So please check her out. Follow her on Instagram. You're going to learn a lot about just life in general. I love your philosophy. It's amazing. It really is. Yeah, it is. Well, until then, guys, we have to go. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, HB. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, anytime.
Yes. Okay. Well.